All right, so as we can see, mine's on CrossFit. However, it's CrossFit with a twist. I don't want to just necessarily talk about what everyone kind of thinks of CrossFit, what the perceptions, which we'll kind of touch base a little bit on it, but I want to talk about what CrossFit's brought to the table, what it's done for the world of fitness, and that's the topic really today, is defining what fitness is, and we'll get into that a little bit more as to why it's important to define fitness. So as we can see, when we look at it, a lot of us, we have our own types of, oh, I hate CrossFit, oh, CrossFitters, oh, hashtag CrossFit. Go to it. We got a lot of these. You know, CrossFitters be like Transformation Tuesday. You know, he's over here doing something stupid and unsafe, wearing the Vibrams 5-finger toe shoes, you know. Remember those things, what white people wear? And then you got, you know, his leg now is broken because he was doing something stupid. This right here, you see people do these weird things and they have Twitter and Facebook and go, hashtag CrossFit, right? That's where this bad rap is. And you got some of these right here, and this is a legitimate CrossFit competition, but that hurts right there. You got this guy, you got CrossFit in the background, and what is he doing? He's working on his handstands, right? No. But this is out there, and this is what people see. People see this, and they're like, oh, you do CrossFit. This is what they see. But there's another side of this. Anyone seen these guys? Have anyone watched the CrossFit games? Have you kind of seen it? This is what these people look like. Believe it or not, 90% of these people all have a 9-to-5 job outside of what this is. That's pretty incredible. It's getting to the point now where you have to have a full-time job to be able to keep up with people like this guy right here, who has been crowned the fittest man of history, which again, we need to define what fitness is, and we're going to get into. But what is CrossFit? Leave this up here, and we're going to spend the entire presentation on basically defining these definitions. So what is CrossFit? Greg Glassman, he gave a definition, a fitness regimen developed by him, who was the first person in history to define fitness in a meaningful, measurable way, increased work capacity across broad time and modal domains. Well, there's also another category here where they added age to it, and I'll talk a little bit on that too, but specifically I want to talk about the definition of fitness. So CrossFit is constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity across these modal domains. All CrossFit workouts are based on functional movements. So if we see this and we're like, okay, well, everyone's got their own definition of functional. Everyone's got their own definition of what that might look like. Well, we got to define what functional is. So functional is the definition of your capacity to move loads, is power. So, okay, what's power? How do you define power? What's the definition of power? There's actually a formula for power, and it's force times distance divided by time. That is also something that is work capacity. We're going to get into that. So let's go on. What is fitness and who is fit? Well, in 1997, Outside Magazine crowned this guy the fittest man. All right, well, that's pretty good. A 6-time winner of the Ironman. That's a big deal. You got these 3 things that they do. They swim, they bike, and they run all in one day. He won that 6 times. That's an impressive feat. We can't take anything away from this guy. But what we're talking about here is they crowned him the fittest man on earth. Is he the fittest man on earth? What about this guy? Everyone watched the 2016 Summer Olympics where he won this? You got 10 different things that he did and he beat the world in. Why isn't he the fittest man on earth? So we got to work on this definition of fitness. So let's go there. Let's go to the dictionary. What is fitness? Well, the dictionary, the ability to transmit genes being healthy. Okay. Well, what is being healthy? That's another definition we have to start looking at too. So there's really no help on this one. The NCSA, National Science and I can't remember the name of them, but they are the leading. They're the leading authority on exercise and medical fitness type stuff. They tried to do a definition, and all it is really is esoteric. They threw some Latin words at it, try to make it sound fancy, but there's nothing measurable. And anybody that studies science and in the scientific community, if it's something that's not measurable, it's not really a scientific definition. So CrossFit, what they did, and this is another reason why they've got a lot of rap on it, is they gave a definition. They did something that no one else has ever done, and it's something that can be measurable across these broad time modal domains. And this is what is really getting the community going. There's the good and the bad. CrossFit's going to continue. It's been going for a while. So CrossFit's fitness, they have this right here, they try to do CrossFit in 100 words. If you want to know what a good fitness program, just to keep it short and simple, they have their world-class fitness. Eat vegetables, meats, nuts, seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. Sugar, we should know, is not necessarily the sugar from the fruits. It's more the sugar from your candy bars, your gummy bears. Keep intakes to levels that will support exercise and not body fat. It's talking about nutrition here. We can get into the nutrition, which we'll touch base a little bit on nutrition, on what fitness should look like. But everyone, there's these fad diets, these high carb, low fat, all these types of diets. Well, there's got to be something there that's going to keep us even keel. Well, we'll get into that as well, how your diet has something to do with your fitness in terms of these broad time domains, age, and modal different categories. So we practice train the major lifts: deadlift, clean, squat, presses, clean and jerk, snatch. Similarly, we have to master these basic gymnasts, and we add it all in: bike, run, swim. Do this 5-6 days per week, and then we need to regularly learn and play new sports. So this is CrossFit in 100 words. These 4 models, is not really 4 models. I thought I'd move that up out of the way. You got these 4 categories we're going to talk about today. So here's the first one: first fitness standards. This is the first model. And the 10 recognized physical skills, you got the GPP, they call it the general physical preparedness. And what this does is, how well are you throwing these 10 different categories in? If you read them, it's cardiovascular, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. If you can mix these all into your regimen somehow, some way, and you put it in the hopper, which is what we saw just a second ago, the hopper theory. You throw all these different categories in. What could we throw into a hopper category? I don't know. Name a workout. Name a movement, Greg.
Bench press.
Bench press. Name another movement, Brandon.
Walking.
Okay, walking. Let's not walk.
Burpees.
Burpees. Do we know what burpees? Someone's favorite thing that they like to do. What's one of your favorite fitness things you like to do? Is it running?
Yeah, running.
Throw running in there. All right, so that's 3 things: bench press, a burpee, and running. And I bet we all have our own different definition. If we wrote it down, we throw it in the hopper, we turn the hopper, and then we're going to pull out different categories, different rep schemes, and we're going to throw it up on the board, and we're going to say, okay, this is the workout today. So you should be able, and what they call it, you are as fit as you are competent in each of these 10 different skills. So we have these 10 different skills, and if, let's say they come up with another one, I'm pretty sure that kind of gets everything. And this is actually something that the community of fitness in general recognize as good standards. These are the 10 that you need to really work on in your fitness regimen. So let's say add another one, 11th one. Okay, whatever it is, dance. I don't know, that might go with your balance and agility, but let's just say dance is in there. Just throw dance, a workout in there in the hopper, throw it around. You should be able to be physically prepared to take on this type of stuff. And I got a story about this, not about this, but about this idea of general prepared fitness, your GPP. This past summer, we went to Boston, and it was one of the things that my father-in-law was on his bucket list. He's 72 now, he's not like he's about to die or anything, but he wanted to go up to Boston. We wanted to do it during the 4th of July. So we went up there for the 4th of July. One of the things that we wanted to do as well, we went into the Prudential building. I don't know if you know what that is, but I can't remember how many stories. It's almost 60 stories, 80 stories tall. When we got up there to the top, it's a 360-degree view. You're looking at everything, and it's like, man, it's beautiful, big city. And then right as we're getting ready to kind of wind down, the fire alarm went off. So it's me, my wife, my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law. Now, my father-in-law, we call it the Wally Walk. He's got a Wally Walk. He's 72, he walks, like this. Slow, always slow. If he gets his heart rate up, it's really bad for him. He's already had 3 heart attacks, a couple stents put in. He is not fit by any standard. Running, getting any type of heart spike, right? He can't do it because it's bad for him. So the fire alarm goes off, and it starts like, okay, whatever. Well, it starts to become a serious thing. They end up turning off the elevators. Now, we're at the very, very top. Now, I feel that I am generally physically prepared for anything. And that's another thing CrossFit I didn't talk about, but they like to say prepare for the unknown. So train for the unknown and the unknowable. And in general, everyone's like, what? There's nothing ever happens to me during any given day. What do I have to train for? A bear is not going to come after me. You heard the saying that I don't have to outrun the bear, I have to just outrun you. That's fine. I am going to outrun you if a bear is coming after me. Now, where I live, there are bears, so that could be a legitimate excuse. Okay? So if a bear's chasing me, I am going to outrun you. My wife, she also does CrossFit. We're both big into it. We do competitions together. We immediately, the stairs just came to our mind. Running down 80 flights of stairs for us, we're not scared of it. I actually really was ready to. My wife, I had to stop her, but my father-in-law, he's not running. He can't go, he's stuck. So we're up here, and we have, all these like, oh my gosh, it's 9/11. Someone's in there with a bomb, and we start freaking out a little bit. Eventually, they turned the elevators back on briefly for us to get on. We were one of the only loads that got on that went straight down, and then they turned them off again. Still don't know to this day what happened. But the idea of preparing for the unknown and the unknowable in your fitness program should kind of be on your mind. You don't know. We watched that movie last night about Patriots Day and everything. Not that being fit was going to save you from a blast of a bomb, but that being fit could help you help a whole bunch of people. If you're 72 and you have had a heart attack multiple times, you have high cholesterol, you can't run, you're out of breath if you go more than a mile, you're not going to offer any help to human society whatsoever. Am I right? Okay, so we have the first fitness standard that they've put up here. This standard, this idea of out of these 10, you need to be working on it. Another thing we need to think about, the first 4 deal with muscle tissue. As you go through this is an organic change of your body. Working on these first 4. The last 4 here, 7 through 10, is actually a neurological chain on your body. So it's changing. So if you want to think about it this way, these 4 would be hardware change or a hardware upgrade. These down here would be a software upgrade. And the 2 in the middle is a combination of both. So by doing this, you're literally changing your neurological system with these all the way down here. And we'll get into this a little bit more. So the third fitness, first, third, okay, this is the second right here. First was with the hopper, I talked about that. I guess I left that slide out. But the third talks about these metabolic engines, these pathways. And I was hoping that I had a board, and I didn't think about it, that I could draw on it a little bit. So you're going to have to use your imagination with me just a little. But I want us to look at this. You've got the phosphagen, the glycolytic, and the oxidative. Another way to look at this would be like your 100-meter sprints. These would be like maybe your 400 to a mile. And then anything over here in these oxidative, that could be your 1,500 meters or more. Okay? Believe it or not, we're all working in the oxidative right now. And it's called aerobic capacity. These 2 up here are your anaerobic. And if we don't need to get into that much, other than you need to know that anaerobic means without air, and then aerobic means with air. So congratulations, everyone. We are all doing aerobic exercise right now, just sitting here. So if we were to look at this right here, again, I would draw this out, but pretend there's a line here, and you got, it says percent total, but let's call this power, and we'll leave this as time duration. All right, so you have this 2 dimensions, and you have these workouts. We could talk about workouts, so let's kind of move forward so I can find this for you. Here it is. So phosphagens are 10 to 30 seconds. That's sprint. That's that. I'm running from a bear. I need to go. These right here, these last a little bit longer, and this is just aerobic. This is your marathon runners. So let's say we have multiple workouts that would be in this phosphagen range. Your 21, 15, 9, your sprints. You could just do Fran. Is anyone familiar with a Fran workout? That's 21 thrusters. That's 21 pull-ups, and then you do that 21, 21, 15, 15, 9, 9, and then you get a time. And usually the elite athletes, they'll come in here, they'll do 45 pull-ups and 45 thrusters and 45 pull-ups in less than 2 minutes. I encourage anyone that wants to get a workout, just go to the gym, warm up slightly, and do 21, 15, 9 of that workout as fast as you possibly can. That'll be it for the day. You won't want to do anything else, I promise. So we'll go back here. Now, we have this right here. It's 2 dimensions. So we plot on our graph here, and remember, we're still working with the phosphagen, glycolytic, and oxidative. So we'll throw a couple different workouts here. We'll say different ranges of running, different ranges of weightlifting over here, and what will happen is you get an average, and the curve is going to kind of come down like this, okay? Now, everything underneath that curve is your work capacity. The work capacity is that definition we were talking about, power, which is force times force times distance divided by time. That's your power. And then as we add in this time right here across this is your work capacity. So how much work can you get done, and then how fast, depending on that type of workout. And what you'll get out of that is a fitness. You keep time in it. So things that don't change, your height don't change. The weight that you use in that workout's not going to change. The 21, 15, 9, it stays the same. Everything's staying the same. And I know I'm going over this really fast, and it might be a little confusing. For time purposes, you might still be confused by the time this is over with, and I apologize. But if we stick with the 21, 15, 9 workout, you do it one day, and you do it one day this month, one day next month, and you're able to beat that time, you kind of got fitter at it. So you're able to measure it against everything. You're still 5'9", you still weigh 180, and the weights that you used was 95 pounds, and then the pull-up bar that you used is still a pull-up bar. You still did pull-ups. So if you did 2 minutes one day, and then the next day you did it in 1 minute, you can measure your fitness. It's gotten better. But we can go a little bit further with that. This is just how we're going to measure fitness. Some other interesting things, and I want to talk to, I guess, now. Staying in the phosphagen and the glycolytic range in your workout regimens, one, will save you time in your exercise, but it will help you in your aerobic. So like if you're a big runner and you like to go running a lot, you will only get better at running from staying over here in this range. You'll also not lose muscle mass staying over in this range. You'll also be more powerful. You'll also have more speed. You'll have more stamina than you will if you just stay in this oxidative range. Everyone likes to stay over here and run at their own slow pace. They get out of breath slightly, and then they find that little runner's place, and they stay there. And you're not getting fit. It's better than doing nothing. It is better than doing nothing, but it's not ideal. There is a better way. And there's time saving as well. So looking at this continuum, they developed this to kind of help gauge some of your health and your fitness. You could put anything on here. Let's say the sickness, you put 160/95 heart rate. We'll put this as pathological, that sickness. You have this right up here, which would be your about 120/95, and then your 105/55 over here. You put that on the continuum. Where do you fall? Let's say you fall at right here, fitness and wellness. Let's put body fat on there. We'll say body fat of 40% is pathological, it's sick. You got this up here at 20%. They'll say that's normal, that's about well, that's where you need to be. And then fitness over here, you kind of have about 10 to 5%. Go down the list. Anything you can have that's measurable, put it on that list. What is fit? What is normal? And what they found is anytime you're over here, eventually, yeah, you might be over here. We're all going to die one day. But the further you're over here, you eventually have to go, let's say you're fit, you start over here, you start not exercising and not working out, not eating healthy. Eventually we're going to go this way over here to sickness, but it's going to take me a longer time to get here than you. And the longer I can keep all of these different measurable things over here in this fitness range, my lifestyle will be a little bit more enjoyable compared to yours. Say we both live 75 years, I will at least be able to wipe my own butt and walk up the stairs and down the stairs without help. And you won't. You have to have help. But we'll both die at 75. My quality of life is better. We'll all die one day. Another thing you could put on here would be like depression and stuff like that. Depression has a link to wellness. The more fit you are, the less depressed you are. The more sick you are, the more prone to depression that you can be. Mental sickness is a big thing right now, and one of the best deterrents for that is exercise. And not just any exercise, but exercise in terms of trying to keep everything over here on this fitness level. What are things that can be measured? How do we make it better? So implementation, I'm going to move through this really fast. They do this metabolic conditioning, and you've heard that. You've heard the Metcons, or you've heard of WODs maybe. That's just metabolic cardio conditioning, throwing these three main disciplines: weightlifting, gymnastics, and running. Okay, so cardio, we talked about this anaerobic versus aerobic. An example, 100 through around 800 meters is anaerobic. Has anyone noticed when you watch the Olympics and you see these runners, there's a big difference in physique from here to here. These people look like that Ashton guy. He just jacked. He looks really well defined, looks in shape. And you look at the other guy, he's in shape, but he kind of looks little, kind of looks skeleton, looks like a zombie almost. There's difference, and the reasons why is because these 100, 800 to even a mile, these types of bodies require a lot of muscle mass to push them at such a high rate, high intensity. We've heard that. There's a measurement for intensity, by the way. I'm not going to get into that. But if you're gonna use these words and these terms, and you're gonna say I had a high intense workout, is that intense? Well, that looks intense to me, but is it the definition of intensity? My workout was intense because I went, huh! That's not really intensity. It can't just be the only measurement of intensity is a facial expression. Anyways, so what we found is anaerobic has a better effect on your body than aerobic does. So training longer in the anaerobic threshold, which is those sprints, those about 4-minute, 5-minute high intense workouts across the intensity domain. You got the modal domains, the broad time domains. How fast can I go? I'm not just going to walk. No, I'm going to sprint there. I'm going to get there faster than you, but my aerobic actually gets better from all that. We talked about these interval training. Basically, if you're doing 10 to 30 seconds of work, in that 10 to 30 seconds of work, you need to be doing 100% of that 10 to 30 seconds. If you're going to pick a 10-second interval, in 10 seconds, you need to be sprinting for that 10 seconds. Same for the 30%. You're going to start off high and you're going to die. You take a break, 30 to 90 seconds. You actually recover quicker. Do it again and you die. Your training actually is better than just a flat line straight across. Does that make sense? Gymnastics, these are different things that you should add into your workout. Weightlifting, just look at this. I mean, you see this type of flexibility. A lot of people think these Olympic lifters or weightlifters, they're not flexible. This requires extreme flexibility. Justin, as an example, I want everyone to stand up. Okay? Put whatever's in your hands, put it down. And I want you to take about 2 steps away from your chair. maybe one step is good. All right, now I want everyone to put their hands like this right here. Okay, everyone's going to do what I do. And then when we go down, we're going to stay down. I don't want you to move. I'll stand up, but you will not. You ready? Okay, stay. Does anyone notice what Greg looks like? Does anyone notice what Pete looks like? Everyone's up on their toes. Who's not up on their toes? He's not, but you're not butt to ground here. She's got some high heels on. You can stand up now.
Thank you.
Sit down. Now, I want us to think about this real quick. Those of you that were not able to sit down in a squat like this with their hips open, heels on the ground, you are not flexible. Okay? Oh, that's really. But this is a bad thing. So let's say, actually, we're not going to get into that. The things you can work on, for instance, in that hopper theory, if we were to put a whole bunch of different workouts in there, the one thing that you're worried about the most coming out of that hopper, if it was to be in a competition, is probably the one thing you need to be working on the most. And what they found is that one thing that you basically suck at the most, if you work on that, subsequently any of the other workouts that you do get better because of it. The squat is a foundational movement for fitness. If you cannot squat properly, everything else, it's like building the foundation wrong. You can't build a house without a proper foundation. If you start trying to build the roof and all this other kind of stuff later, eventually if your roof gets built and then you haven't put a foundation down and then you're like, oh crap, we gotta kind of put the walls in there somehow, and then you put the walls in there and then eventually try to put the roof on, something's going to go wrong. It's the same thing for your fitness. Squatting is a foundational movement. A deadlift is a foundational movement. A clean, a press. If you can't do those in proper mechanics, you will hurt yourself, guaranteed. And then what will happen is you will be doing a CrossFit workout. It might be filmed, and you'll be doing this type of movement that you've never done, and you're going to try to go high intense. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hashtag CrossFit and put it on Twitter, and then everyone's going to think that that's what CrossFit is. But CrossFit doesn't teach that. They teach mechanics first. They could teach consistency second, and then they say increase the intensity. Is your mechanics right? We need to work on that. Do we know what that looks like? Well, I don't know. Have you done any research on what a squat is? Do you know what that looks like? You got to find out what all these things are. Then you get consistent at it. When you can do this every time, like, okay, I got to bend down and pick something up. Eventually, you get consistent at it, and then we can do this faster. That's what CrossFit is. Mechanics, consistency, intensity. Once you start increasing that intensity, your workout, different things, the way that your body will change will be phenomenal. We saw what those guys and girls look like in the beginning. I mean, that's from CrossFit. Another side note, I don't compete in Olympic lifting per se. Like, you don't see me at these things right here with the Olympics. You know, when you watch the Olympic weightlifting, I'm not that good, but I do CrossFit. I actually qualified for the National Olympic team in my weight division because of CrossFit. I do not specifically train for Olympic weightlifting. I had numbers that would have taken me to nationals this year. I have a normal job, 40-hour a week plus most of the time, and I'm still able to compete at high levels because of CrossFit being mechanically safe, consistent at it, and increasing my intensity across all those broad 10 different divisions of fitness things that we talked about. So these movements right here, these are the big ones. They elicit a profound neuroendocrine response. That is, they alter you hormonally and neurologically. Hormonally, you feel better. You're not depressed. You look and feel good. Neurologically, mentally, they talk about doing these types of workouts before you go work out in the morning, before you go to a work in the morning, how it makes you smarter. I don't know, but there's studies that keep coming out that are saying maybe it is, maybe it doesn't, but hey, it's not going to make you feel bad, right? At least you feel, oh, I'm smarter today because I did a workout, and at least I look sexy. So I'm gonna go through this really quick. We got this pyramid. They want to say sport's at the top. Sport is the essential fitness. This is what would be a mastery of skills. It would be what would happen to you in life. You know, a fire alarm goes off in the Prudential building, you're on the top floor. life just happened and you have to react? Are you prepared for it? So at any point of this pyramid, if it starts to fail, the subsequent above goes down as well. So you have to have a good nutritious diet. You got to get this metabolic conditioning down. You got to be proficient in gymnastics, weightlifting and throwing, and then as you're doing these different types of training, when sport happens or when life happens, you're able to respond properly. We talked about working out. I don't want to go. If you want to read that, take a picture of it. This is a good little blueprint of how you could do a regimen for a day or one day. You want to be creative with it. You don't want to be in a routine, because once you get in a routine, then you're not gaining. Does that make sense? Okay, that's it. And if anyone has any questions outside of this speech, I'd be more than happy to give you a little bit better of a path. Nutritious-wise, your carbs should be about 40% of your diet, fat 30, and the other's 30. Does that make sense? I like the 33, 33, 33. We can talk about that too, but we don't want that fad diet. Fad diets are not sustainable, and they kill people. So.